Do not board any train that arrives exactly at 3:03 a.m. Tokyo after midnight softens into a hush of sodium light and distant sirens. Vending machines blink like patient sentries. Ticket gates sleep with their mouths half open, and the tunnels breathe a faint odor of metal and rain. On the platform clock, the second hand limps toward 3:03, and the loudspeaker coughs, once, twice, before a train slides in without fanfare. Its paint is the wrong shade of green, its windows too dark to hold reflections, and its destination board shows a single character that means nothing and everything: Shuuten, terminal. No footsteps precede its arrival. No driver's silhouette stains the cab. The doors open to air colder than winter, even in June, and a dry whisper scuds along the platform like wind searching for a throat. Somewhere down the line, a lantern light wavers where there should be none, and the rails sing a thin, glassy note that makes your molars ache. If you hold your breath, you might hear it, paper rustling, as if passengers are folding newspapers printed on yesterday's skin. The station map behind you does not list the next stop. The city above you, concrete and neon and grief, does not admit the station exists. But tonight the tunnel is wider than you remember, and the train is on time. Our story follows Kenji Sato, a 29-year-old salaryman who lives alone in a cramped Tokyo apartment near Shinagawa. His days are consumed by fluorescent lights and endless meetings. His nights by canned beer and the glow of a muted television. Kenji is not adventurous. He is the kind of man who times his commute to the minute, who never questions the machinery of the city. On this night, however, his schedule falters. After working overtime until past midnight, he misses the last official train. Too proud to pay for a taxi, too restless to sleep at the office, he wanders into the station hoping for a miracle. The concourse is almost deserted, just the echo of his footsteps and the occasional rattle of a vending machine swallowing coins. He drifts onto a bench, phone slipping from his hand, and closes his eyes for what he thinks will be a few seconds. When he wakes, the station feels wrong. The fluorescent lights are dimmer, tinged with a sickly green. The schedule board above him is blank. Even the vending machines have gone dark. Kenji rubs his eyes, telling himself he is dreaming. But then he hears it, below. Metallic groan of wheels against rails. A train is arriving. He glances at the platform clock. 3:03 a.m. The train slides in, quiet as a shadow. Its carriages look outdated, like something preserved from decades ago. On the front display panel, instead of a destination, a single word glows in red: Shuuten, terminal. Kenji stands frozen. The doors hiss open, exhaling cold air that smells of incense and rust. The platform is empty. No conductor leans from the cab. No other passengers wait beside him. Logic tells him to stay where he is, but exhaustion and curiosity blur his judgment. He steps forward, and the doors close behind him with a finality that feels less like transport and more like entrapment. The doors close with a hiss that sounds almost like a sigh. Kenji takes a seat near the middle of the carriage, his body sinking into cushions that feel damp with age. At first, it seems empty. Then he notices the passengers. They sit scattered along the rows, each hidden behind a newspaper. The paper stock looks yellowed, brittle, the kanji printed in an old style no longer used. He glances closer and catches a headline: Jiao Hei 47 Nien, Showa 47. 1972, a year before he was even born. His throat tightens. The car hums forward. Kenji pulls out his phone, desperate for grounding. The screen lights up, but the time is frozen. 3:03 a.m. The battery indicator doesn't move, no matter how many times he taps it. Worse, there is no signal, just a single bar that blinks on and off like a pulse. As the train pushes deeper into the tunnel, the world outside the window changes. Instead of the tiled walls of the Tokyo Metro, there are wooden torii gates rushing past, painted vermilion, endless, as though the train is racing through a shrine corridor that stretches into eternity. Paper lanterns swing in the darkness. Though there is no wind, Kenji swallows hard. Maybe he boarded a heritage line. He tells himself, maybe this is a special service. But then one of the newspapers rustles. A passenger lowers it slowly, and Kenji feels his chest ice over. The man's face is pale, waxy, his eyes hollow sockets. He stares directly at Kenji with a mouth that does not open but still whispers. The sound is not carried by breath, it vibrates in Kenji's skull. Next stop, Kisaragi. Kenji blinks, shaken. The other passengers begin to lower their newspapers too. Every face is wrong, blurred, eyeless, features sliding like melted wax. Yet they all move their mouths in unison. Soundless but somehow perfectly heard. Next stop, Kisaragi. Kenji grips the seat until his knuckles whiten. The name stirs a memory, an urban legend he once read online about a girl who vanished after describing her journey on a train that should not exist. She, too, said it stopped at Kisaragi Station. The train rattles onward, but Kenji feels as though it is carrying him deeper into a world that has peeled away from Tokyo. The fluorescent bulbs above flicker, dimming to a sickly yellow. Shadows in the corners of the carriage thicken, moving with a life of their own. He squeezes his phone, hoping for comfort. The screen sputters, then displays a string of notifications, old internet posts, screenshots he never saved. His blood runs cold as he recognizes them, fragments of the infamous Hasumi thread. The real-time account of the girl who vanished on the ghost train years ago. The final post glows brighter than the rest. I can see Kisaragi Station. I don't think I can get back. Kenji shuts his phone, heart pounding. His reflection in the darkened window looks wrong, slightly delayed. Like a bad recording, the reflection's mouth moves before his own, whispering words he cannot hear. A chime echoes through the carriage, metallic and distorted. The overhead speakers groan. Then a voice, calm, ritualistic, announces, "Next stop, Kisaragi Station." All passengers prepare to disembark. The eyeless commuters fold their newspapers neatly, placing them on their laps. Their heads turn toward Kenji in eerie synchrony, as though he is the only newcomer, the only intruder. Panic claws at his chest. He rushes to the nearest door, but the emergency lever is sealed under a plate of glass that will not break. He pounds on the window, only to see the tunnel walls dissolve into something impossible, rows of wooden gravestones, each marked with names he does not recognize. Passing by in endless repetition, Kenji staggers back to his seat, whispering to himself that it isn't real. Yet the train slows, brakes screeching. Outside, a platform emerges from the dark. Its tiles are cracked, its sign splintered, but the characters glow faintly. Kisaragi Kisaragi Station. The passengers rise in unison. Their movements are stiff, jerking, as if pulled by invisible strings. One by one, they shuffle toward the doors, their whisper resuming in a chorus that pounds inside his skull. Get off, get off, get off. The doors slide open with a hiss, releasing a wave of air that smells of damp soil and extinguished incense. Kenji grips the metal pole, refusing to move, but the other passengers file out mechanically, their blurred faces turned toward the cracked platform. None of them stumble, none of them hesitate. They vanish into the mist that curls thick beyond the station. Kenji forces himself to stay seated, but the whispering doesn't stop. It grows sharper, pressing against his eardrums, layered voices insisting, "Get off, you belong here, your stop has come." His phone flickers back to life. The screen no longer shows apps or messages, just a single window of text. Lines of Japanese scrawled as if typed live. "We arrived at Kisaragi. No one ever leaves." His breath stutters. He scrolls instinctively, and the text keeps refreshing. More lines spilling in, fragments of prayers, unfinished farewells, screams cut off mid-sentence. The posts seem endless, as though every person who has ever arrived here left their words behind. Trapped in a digital graveyard, Kenji recalls more details from the legend. Hasumi, the girl from the thread, described soldiers on the platform, men in outdated uniforms who tried to lure her away. She begged for help online until her signal disappeared forever. That was years ago. He always assumed it was fiction. But now, as the mist parts slightly, he sees them, figures standing rigid at the far end of the platform. Rifles slung across their shoulders, Uniforms from an era long erased. They do not move at first. Then, as if catching his gaze, one soldier tilts his head slowly. Unnaturally, the others follow. Together, they raise their arms and point at him. The train shudders violently. The lights flicker red. The intercom groans with a voice that is not mechanical but human. Guttural, commanding. All passengers must disembark. Kenji realizes the truth with an icy clarity. Kisaragi Station is not a myth. It is a place that swallows the lost, trapping them in a cycle of arrival with no departure. Every whisper, every online post, every urban legend is not a warning. It is a record of those who came before him. Voices still echoing in the endless night. The station trembles as though the ground itself resents his refusal. Kenji clings to the pole. But the train seems alive. Its walls groaning, its floor tilting as if pushing him toward the open doors. On the platform, the soldiers march closer. Their boots make no sound. Yet every step rattles inside his chest. Their faces are blank, waxen masks stretched over bone. One raises a hand and gestures. Sharp and final. Disembark. Behind Kenji, the passengers who had left moments ago now reappear at the doors. Their blurred faces hover just outside, eyes hollow voids glowing faintly like dying embers. They reach for him with stiff, gray hands, their whispers no longer coaxing but commanding. Get off, join us, your stop has come. Kenji lunges for the emergency lever again, smashing the glass with his fist. But the lever snaps off uselessly in his hand. Blood drips onto the floor. The train doesn't move, it waits. Complicit in his fate, the mist thickens, pouring into the carriage. The air tastes metallic, like old coins pressed against his tongue. From the fog, new figures emerge, children in school uniforms. A woman in a nurse's cap. A man in a construction helmet, all pale. Silent, their mouths hanging open as if mid-scream. Their bodies sway with each pulse of the tunnel. Kenji stumbles backward until he is pressed against the window. In the glass, his reflection no longer matches him. It wears the same hollow eyes as the passengers outside, its lips curling into a smile that is not his own. The reflection whispers soundlessly, yet he hears it loud and clear inside his skull. You are already one of us. The soldiers reach the carriage, their pale hands gripping the doorframe. The intercom bursts alive, shrieking with static. Then the voice booms once more, deep, resonant, undeniable. Final stop. All must disembark. The hands close in, dozens of them, cold, heavy, relentless. They drag Kenji from his seat, pull him toward the mist. He thrashes, screaming, but the air swallows the sound. The last thing he sees before the fog engulfs him is the sign above the platform glowing brighter. Letters burning into his eyes. Kisaragi Station. And then, silence. The next morning, Shinagawa Station bustles as usual. Commuters rush, trains arrive and depart, announcements echo crisply across the platforms. Everything is normal, except for one detail. On a wooden bench near track 7 lies a single briefcase. Rain-speckled and abandoned. Inside, a salaryman's ID card, wallet, and phone. The device powers on, but the screen refuses to show the date. Instead, a single message glows in the Notes app. I can see Kisaragi Station. I don't think I can get back. Officials list Kenji Sato as a missing person. CCTV footage from the night before shows him sitting on that very bench at 2:55 a.m. Head bowed in exhaustion. The next frame, timestamped 3:03 a.m., shows nothing, just an empty bench. No train ever arrived on that track, at least according to the logs. In the weeks that follow, late-night staff whisper among themselves. Some claim to hear the distant squeal of brakes in tunnels long after the last scheduled train. Others swear they've seen a green carriage slide past, unlit, destination board glowing with a single word, Shuuten Terminal. And on anonymous message boards, a new thread appears. The username is Kenji's. The final line of the post reads, chillingly familiar. If anyone sees this, don't board the train at 3:03. It doesn't take you home. Urban legends survive because they feed on our fear of the ordinary. A train is meant to be safe, Predictable, a machine that takes you from one stop to the next. But what if that trust is betrayed? What if routine becomes a trap? The story of Kisaragi Station is not only about ghosts and vanishing commuters. It is about the invisible weight of exhaustion, the way a city like Tokyo consumes its people until they drift half awake through life. At 3:03 a.m., when the world is quiet and defenses are thin, the boundary between reality and memory frays. Perhaps the station is not a place at all, but a reflection of those who no longer belong anywhere, spirits of the forgotten. Passengers who once missed their stop in life and never found their way back. Kenji's fate is not unique. It is a warning carved into the rails that some destinations cannot be undone. And some journeys never allow return. The whispers on that train are not only of the dead, but of the living who let the night claim them without protest. So if you ever find yourself alone on a platform, the clock ticking toward 3:03, and you hear a train approach that should not exist, remember this: not every ride is meant to take you home. Some trains arrive only to remind you that the line between the living and the lost is thinner than a sheet of glass.